Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee and Brats YouTube channel. First and foremost, I want to say thank you if you're joining me again from a previous video. I appreciate all of the love on the previous videos. If you have not had an opportunity to go back and see those videos, please feel free to hit the pause button right now and go back and check out our 2 vlog style videos that we filmed at Eastbound Get Down 2026 a few weeks ago. Car show. It's what I like to deem the season opener. But for today, we are just getting into more of a podcast style setting. As you can see, I've got a makeshift setup behind me. We are in a chilly Central Florida. It is Friday, and it is this January 30th, and it is not cold at the moment as it's midday, but it is most certainly going to get a little frigid here in Central Florida. And as you can see, I've got my fireplace on, keeping me warm. But yeah, just trying to create a nice environment to have a quick chat and a little podcast setup, right? Coffee and Brats Podcast. We've been talking about it forever. I'm waiting for my microphones to come in. I upgraded my phone and did not upgrade the input for the microphone. So we are waiting on those. So hopefully the audio is not too bad and the echo is not too terrible. I am sitting in a garage, as you probably can tell. But I wanted to create a nice little environment, something that would be fun and most certainly get something out. So anyways, no real format, but as we already mentioned, it's cold. It's gonna get cold. It's been a cold couple of weeks. First and foremost, I'm very cognizant about the, I guess they call it a nor'easter, whatever it's called, the cold front that is taking over the Midwest, the Northeast, Texas. You know, I've got coworkers in Minneapolis that quite literally get snowed in, family up in New York, of course, who have received a good bit of snow. I think last weekend was kind of like really, last weekend into the early parts of this week, I believe they've got their heavy snowing. But from my understanding, I think it's circling back tomorrow. So if you're in the Northeast and something is coming tomorrow, you know, listen, more power to you, man. I'm pulling for you guys. You know, I'm used to storm prep in the regards of hurricanes. So my coworkers, I asked them actually, how do they prep for something like that? The reason I ask is because down here in Florida, or any of the states that really deal with those hurricanes, and I'm sure elsewhere with tornadoes it's very similar, but you know, typically water, batteries, candles, wood, canned goods, non-perishable items, generators, all sorts of that stuff are really, they just fly off the shelf, right? So curious what it would be like up there. We get generators to make sure that our food doesn't go bad in our refrigerator, that we can keep those running and so on and so forth. But with the snow like that, I guess really you can just kind of get a cooler and put your lunch meat right outside the back door. So they gave me a breakdown on what that entails, and it's kind of more or less the same. You just kind of stock up on some of the food items that you may need, make sure there's fuel for your snow blowers, and I guess things like power, from my understanding, at least from their perspective, they don't really lose a lot of power. But I'm sure in some areas, and maybe some infrastructures like Texas, which I've always deemed to be a hot state, but I've also never been there and I've never dove into the climate. So maybe snow in Texas is pretty common. But I would imagine that it's some areas that are not built for this type of weather, they do lose power, so the generator and things like that could be something that's necessary. So anyways, as I mentioned, it's a Friday, so tomorrow it's supposed to be a little chilly, and Sunday it's supposed to get a little chillier. I don't really follow the weather. I ride BMX bikes. So my goal is every day after work is to get outside, get to a skate park, or at least get out somewhere riding for a little bit. And you know, Florida, it likes to rain, and Florida will tell you it'd be beautifully sunny outside, and you go outside and it's dark skies and quite literally hurricane style weather, at least for 20 minutes, enough to wet everything up and ruin the evening. So with that being said, I don't look at the weather, but I got caught with my pants down, for a better lack of terms, the other week. The wife and I headed up to North Florida for a family member's repast, and the weather was quite brisk, and I was not dressed for the part. I had a full suit on, and tell you what, these toes were not warm in dress socks. So I've been doing my due diligence to watch the weather, which brings me back to this Sunday. Apparently high for where I'm located here in Central Florida, at least for the few hours in the morning, we'll be waking up to about 22 degrees, and the feels like temperature is about 8 degrees. So I don't fare well in the cold weather. I'm a Florida boy, but I do plan on pulling out the pink truck and going to get a hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts. Windows cracked, heat on the feet. If you're interested in the order, I get one a year, and it's a salted caramel hot chocolate from Dunkin', but I get one ice cube because I don't know what nuclear heating source they use, but I used to get those when I was in law enforcement back in the day, and it was a 30-minute drive from Dunkin' to work, and by the time I got to work, it was barely consumable because it was so hot. So make sure if you do that, get one ice cube. I assure you it's not gonna make it in like an iced coffee type of setup. So anyways, it's gonna be a little chilly. We got the long sleeves on, we're rocking the beanie, and of course we've got our fire logs in to keep us warm here in the garage. So that's a little weather update from Central Florida. I think I do like the weather, I just don't like what the weather feels like at times. And yeah, so also I wanna shout out in the car show world, locally, we'll get into some car show stuff. Locally, my good buddies, a lot of good buddies and a lot of longtime friends, but Hardcore Minis is throwing a memorial show actually tomorrow. So by the time you see this, the show is probably gonna be already happening, but it's a memorial show for one of their lifelong members, Paul Falzone. Paul Falzone was a super nice guy, and obviously, unfortunately, had some medical things that caught up to him, and he's no longer with us. But his club is doing a great job in making sure that his memory will be alive in that regard and keeping his name alive. And the cool thing is they're not just throwing a show to throw a show. They are throwing a show in which all the proceeds are going to go to Cupid's Undies Run and then a Children's Tumor Foundation. So that's really cool. It's my understanding that Paul was involved with those organizations before he passed away. So love to see that, the fact that they're giving back in regards to in Paul's name, and obviously keeping their friend's name in the mix. In the event that this does go out in time, it will be January 31st, 2026. Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. in Sanford, Florida at Ace Cafe. Ace Cafe used to have a big location in downtown Orlando, but more recently they've opened in downtown Sanford, and they've done a really good job, I will say, of having multiple events there. And so this would just be another example of another event, except this is a cool event. It's not just a, hey, let's get together and slap hands. So shout out to Hardcore Minis. Obviously, condolences to the Falzone family and the Hardcore family for your loss, but kudos for keeping his name alive, and shout out to you guys for also making sure that those proceeds continue to go to the Cupid Undies Run and the Children's Tumor Foundation. It is a $20 entry, and the $20 is going to be well spent nonetheless. So if you're around the Sanford, Florida area tomorrow, it's supposed to be a little chilly, slight chance of persips. As previously mentioned, it will rain if it wants to, and if it doesn't want to, it won't. But bring a jacket, bring a hoodie, prepare yourself. It is not far from Lake Monroe. It's almost waterfront, so there will be a nice breeze to keep you cold if that's what you like. In car show news as well. And I'll be at the L&O. The Hardcore Minis Memorial Show. Forgive me, L&O is their previous memorial show that they did many, many years ago. But I'll be there in attendance with my buddy Brian, who you will have seen in the last video with his Silverado. And yeah, we're gonna go show some love and slap some hands. And then also in car show news, this one, if you have plenty of time, this one is buddy Brian, Brian Weeks, hosts a show with some partners called the After Dark Show Remix. This is a show that is put on in Clearwater, Florida. This one will be February 7th, 2026. This will be from 3 to 9, hence the term After Dark. It is a nighttime show. Rooster's Rod Shop, Aspire Auto Sports, and Cruise Customs are all part of the show as well. And yeah, this one's pretty cool. Again, Saturday, February 7th, 2026. So 1 week from basically tomorrow. So we're going to take a look and we're going to go check that show out and support as well. I've registered to park with the big boys, I guess, and some VIP rows. So we're going to take Pinky out there and hopefully she doesn't get lost in the sea of amazingness, as she's mediocre at best, but it's mine. This show is a show that we've gone to, and I say we, but me and my buddies and the wife have gone to many of times over the years. Before Brian had it, it was hosted by another fellow. So this is just a really cool show. It's in a pretty sick spot called Quaker Steak and Lube. And for those who don't know what that is, it's fairly similar to, I guess like a Ford garage, but I think it might be a one-off. I don't think it's a chain because it's quite literally the only one that I'm aware of. But super sick environment. It looks like an old diner on the outside. There's tons of parking, which makes it really cool for car shows. But the inside is just full automotive. There's cars hanging from the ceiling. There's lifts. There's all sorts of race memorabilia and custom car memorabilia. It's cool. It's a really cool spot. It's about a 2.5 hour ride from where I'm sitting right now, but it's totally worth it every time we go. And the food is really good there. They always have good music. The nightlife is sick. And honestly, the cruise is not bad, dude. It's a nice little drive. In years past, it's usually a couple of us cruising out. I've done it by myself with the wife. This year, again, we should have all of our guys going out. I'll probably have some content coming from that one as well, so I'm gonna do my best to document that. So stay tuned. But again, if you are in the area or have interest in checking out a show, once again, February 7th, 2026, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Quaker Steak and Lube. That is in Clearwater, Florida. Again, Quaker Steak and Lube in Clearwater, Florida. Check them out. You can most certainly find the flyer on Instagram and Facebook. It is called the After Dark Show 2026 or the After Dark The Remix. One of the two, you'll find the information, and we'll love to see you out there. If you see me out there filming, come tell me what you think about my content. If you think it sucks, tell me. If you're rocking with it, please tell me. As mentioned in all of my descriptions of my videos, I'm not a professional YouTuber. Would be sick if I got to a point where I could do it professionally, but for now, we're just having fun with it because I like to yap. My goal is to grow a real podcast and not just more of like a chatty like this, but with maybe somebody else next to the fireplace with me at one point. Baby steps, baby steps. Yeah, another cool thing that I used to chat about a lot as far as a big music guy. Now, if you go into the Coffee and Brats Instagram page, you'll see that there's some music updates that I've done. I'm a diehard music guy, right? I'm the guy that's up at midnight or 1 o'clock every Friday, primarily hip hop, that's my thing. And really well versed into new and old artists. I'm not just saying that to say that. I pride myself on that. I listen to primarily music, hip hop based podcasts, and I usually crush 2 a day. So anywhere's worth of 6 hours worth of content I'm consuming. I love it, I love it, I love it. Some Fridays are better than the others, some are not. Cool thing that's happening recently is back in the music world, back in the day, albums used to drop on a Tuesday. So you used to go get new music on a Tuesday, and back in the day when you have to either go physically get a copy, wherever you buy your CDs at, but artists used to drop on Tuesdays, and somewhere along the line it changed to Fridays. And I don't really know how I feel about that. Not that I'm a content creator, but the content creators that I listen to will even say that, most of the time they're putting out some sort of content for the weekend, and one day is not enough to consume an album of any kind, and then sit there and speak about it and give it your honest opinion. And I'm saying all this to say that some artists are kind of going backwards in the sense of they're not conforming to the norm. They drop when they want to. And one of the biggest artists of the last 15 years in the hip hop world is Jcole. I remember telling my buddy Brian, right when Jcole came out, oh, this is the next one up. And I just remember him specifically saying that, man, Jcole, his shit sucks. And then about a year or two later, that whole conversation changed. That will always stick with me. But yeah, Jcole, obviously, if you follow any kind of music and hip hop stuff, 2 years ago, the old Drake and Kendrick beef, which is overly saturated and so over it, derived from Jcole. Now, Drake and Kendrick, they had a long-standing history, as far as artistry, and then just a long-standing history of like subbing each other or taking shots. So it's not like this wasn't going to happen at some point in time. But on a song called "First Person Shooter" with Jcole and Drake, the word on the street is that Drake wanted Kendrick on the song to have all three of the the big three as they were once called in hip hop, Kendrick, Cole, and Drake. And Drake reached out knowing good well and well there's a problem between him and Kendrick. So then Jcole and Drake went on to put out the song, which became First Person Shooter. And Cole's verse basically kind of sent some subs at Kendrick, or if you're not in tune with the terminology, said subliminal messages, basically talking shit about the top three, the big three, who's the GOAT, so on and so forth. And, obviously, I'm sure you guys aren't living under a rock, but, that is what created the big beef. It got way crazier than I think it should have. That's for another podcast in itself. But I'm saying all this to say, during all of that, Jcole is an amazing MC, and lyrically in my book, he's top 5, changed my mind. You have to remember, I'm almost 40, so I didn't grow up in the Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One era, so I'm fully aware that there are elite artists that came before Cole, but speaking from where I grew up listening to and my age group, Cole is definitely top 5 for me. And I think some of those that I listed would definitely agree with that. However, hip hop is all about, it's a spar. It's a who's the best, and it's always been like that. Freestyle battles, battling in general, diss tracks, all the shit. Like that has just been part of it, and that's part of the culture. So when that beef took off in 2024, Jcole actually put out the first song to really there was obviously the beef kind of, Kendrick said some shit on a Future song, which kind of sparked some stuff in response to the First Person Shooter song. Then really the first person to shoot back was Jcole. And Jcole and Kendrick have had a great friendship. They've made good songs together. We were supposed to get a Kendrick Cole album in 2014, and that never happened. But the long short is, Cole took a shot. He put out a mixtape called Might Delete Later, which was ironic because I feel like it was already premeditated, but on that album, he put a song out that was literally shooting at Kendrick, and it was hard, but it was just a little taste. He even said hey, this is just I'm testing the waters, we could take it farther, or we could dead it here, but just know I'm with the shit, right? And then in Dreamville Fest in 2024, I think, Jcole's own festival in Fayetteville, North Carolina, he actually went on stage and basically apologized for dissing Kendrick Lamar, and then went as far as to take that one diss track off all of the DSPs, so all of the digital streaming platforms. He had that song removed. This was not received well in the hip hop community, and it's still not sitting well with people. Now, fast forward to 2026, we haven't heard much from Jcole. We've been waiting on a Drake album for the longest time called Iceman, and so while we've been getting snippets all through late 24 and 25 of that, Cole finally said, hey, I'm coming. Now, his album is called The Fall Off, and The Fall Off is an album that he's been working on for about 10 years. And he has actually said there's about 6 different versions that this album has already been. So the idea with The Fall Off is that this is the most highly anticipated Cole project. Will it be his last? They don't know. I don't know if Cole is alluding to that, but long short, we've been waiting. And we finally got a date. It is coming February 26, 2026. He's from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and he's witty. For whatever reason, Fayetteville is referred to as the 2-6. So his album is dropping 2-6 of 2-6. So while we're waiting on that, Jcole surprised us with a quick drop called the Birthday Blizzard 26. Now this was 4 songs, and Jadakiss actually kind of dropped the ball on this, which I think made Cole drop it sooner. And on the Joe and Jada podcast, which is Fat Joe and Jadakiss, Jadakiss said like, hey, I heard some shit that Cole's working on. He's got a little tape coming before the album. And that was last week. And then out of the blue, J. Cole released a 4-track project. And the cool thing is, and this is what I love now, is that artists are taking back the power and their ownership. He actually released it on his website behind his own paywall. So if I'm not mistaken, it's literally like $1 or $5 download, but you get 4 tracks, and J. Cole went fucking insane. Again, in my opinion, J. Cole, his sword is sharp. He's in shape. He's rapping. And if this is any inkling of what we're gonna get for the fall off, yeah, I feel like rappers better pay attention. And who gives a shit if he? In my opinion, who gives a shit if he apologized? In that whole beef. A lot of people say he can't really talk crazy. He can't say like he's the GOAT, like he'll go against anybody because he apologized. But lyrically, in my opinion, there's only a few people that could really stand with J. Cole. And anyways, this project is sick. So we got 4 tracks on it. Again, you can go to J. Cole's website. He released the first one on, he gave us 1 track on his X or Twitter page, which was really good, Bronx Zoo freestyle. But the cool shit about this project is, those of you guys who have been a hip hop fan like myself for a long time, he went and got DJ Clue, who, if you know anything about the late 90s and the early 2000s, DJ Clue ran shit, not just in the mixtape world, but on New York radio, DJ Clue is a staple. So the fact that he went back and got DJ Clue, did it right, and then he picked some of the craziest beats in the history of hip hop. A lot of them were bad boy beats, but he picked 4 classics. He picked Notorious B.I.G.'s Who Shot Ya, Diddy's Victory, The Lox' Can I Live, and The Lox' Money, Power, Respect. Now, those last 2 alone are insane. Obviously, Notorious B.I.G., Who Shot Ya, synonymous beat. All I'm gonna say is that if you haven't heard this, go listen to it. It is on J. Cole's website, and I'm sure you can get on YouTube somewhere and find it already pirated. It's called Birthday Blizzard 26. It's 4 songs. It might be maybe 10, 12 minutes long, but all I'm saying is that this is top tier rapping. Top tier rapping. And as a super hip hop head and a consumer of all sorts of hip hop, underground, well-known artists, old artists, new artists, you name it, this is probably one of the most exciting moments for me, as music's been a little stale in the last couple of months. Q1 of 2026 I have high hopes for. Q4 of 2025 was really stale. I'm hoping some of the big artists drop, but long short, J. Cole dropped an amazing project. Again, Birthday Blizzard 26. Go check him out. You can check it out. I think it's like Cole World or jcoleworld.com, whatever it is, just Google it. And spend $1 or $2 and listen to this, or just go pirate it on YouTube, whatever. I'm not making anything off this, so do what you want, but listen to the shit because it's gas. Yeah, so that was a big excitement. And then obviously we got him dropping in February, so I'm pretty excited about that. So that's my little music take for the moment. But yeah, other than that, updates on me. I've spoken about this on the channel. I don't want to say ad nauseum, but I've definitely given updates, and I don't want to bore everybody to death. But I did rupture my Achilles in May of 2025. It was a bummer. I ride BMX bikes, so that was a major blow for me as far as like, am I ever going to be able to get back to it, so on and so forth. So 10 months, I put my head down, I put the work in, got my body back together, and I was able to start recently getting back on the bike and pedaling, which I have been so excited for. You have no idea. But I finally started getting out there and kind of knocking the dust off, so to speak. And last weekend I had a really good session. And yeah, I'm just really excited about that. So hopefully I could start filming a little bit of content for the channel in regards to that. I put a video out the other day kind of just showing that exact day that I'm talking about. There's a few clips in there. It's totally not a representation of my bike riding, but it's a representation of a guy that hasn't ridden a bike in almost a year and has a smile on his face from ear to ear. And so for me, that means more than anything. So really hyped on that. We're getting back in the saddle. I have the appropriate ankle braces and all the things that I need to stay safe and secure. And I look forward to bringing my camera along with me and hopefully getting some buddies and just doing a couple of like BMX little webisodes, if you will, on the channel. Nothing too crazy, but along with the car stuff, along with the podcast stuff, that is also another iteration, a massive iteration of my life, I want to say. Probably the biggest, more so than the car stuff. So look forward to that. Hopefully that doesn't bore you to death, and hopefully it just gets you stoked. Other than that, yeah, 2026 has been starting out pretty well for myself and my friends and my family. I think everybody so far has done pretty good. Everybody's healthy. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's going on. I have some other projects, way bigger projects for me personally that I don't know how much I'm going to divulge here just yet, but I have a passion project that I'm working on that if I can execute this within the next year, I may actually become a business owner, and that would be really cool. I want to make sure that I leave some sort of legacy, or at least when this time on this floating rock is all said and done, people could say like, wow, he really did something that was worthwhile. He wasn't just the blonde-headed guy that rode BMX bikes and drove a pink truck. He actually gave a shit and added a little bit more to the world that we live in. So nothing super crazy. I'm not going to be the president. I'm not going to go try to fight crime, but I am going to try to add what I can to this world, one cup at a time. All right. But that's really it. This is just a quick one jumping on here. I love chatting. Again, my goal is to get some guests and really do the podcast thing. But for now, I enjoy doing this as well. If you enjoy these updates, if there's anything you want me to talk about, if you've got something you want me to talk about, please get in the comments and let me know. Again, I'm doing this because I really enjoy it, and I don't claim to be the best, but I would love to just talk. Talking is my thing. I don't know why, but I enjoy doing it. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you. If you have a moment, feel free, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Share it if you want, and then no pressure, but if you feel like hitting that subscribe button, we're on the road to 500 subscribers, and I can't do it without you. So until the next one, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Stay warm, Florida. We're out of here. Peace.